on Semrush. Today I am joined once again by Joel Bondorowsky. Hopefully I've got that right this time, given it's our third or fourth time on. On Semrush. Today I am joined once again by Joel Bondorowsky. Hopefully I've got that right this time, given it.
Yeah, you got it right there.
Sorry, I had background noise there. So Joel is back on talking about pay-per-click, and today is going to be discussing the perfect ads and landing page, which is the third in a series of 4 about pay-per-click. So Joel, for anyone who hasn't been on any of the previous webinars, can you just give them a bit of your background, where you've worked, why you're the guru in pay-per-click?
Okay. Well, my background is I do have a very strong online marketing background. I actually first got involved with online marketing way back in year 2000, before Google AdWords was even really a thing. And some of the main search engines out there were something like Netscape Navigator search engine, AOL search engine, which both started off of GoTo.com, which was the premier PPC platform at the time. All dead names. So we have moved on, but what hasn't changed is the general concept of paying for traffic and making the most of that traffic by being able to convert it. That was back then. Since that time, I moved from the States to Israel, where I got involved with the tech scene here. I had the opportunity to work at Wix.com, which was my first introduction to very large-scale mass market campaigns. Wix is a very popular website builder. At Wix, we manage some massive budgets, bidding on every sort of way you could think of building a website, or how to build a website, or website templates and whatnot. Over there, I learned how to optimize the entire process from the ad to the landing page, and understood exactly what it took in order to make campaigns profitable by giving the right value to the click. Because you do pay-per-click, so in order to choose the right bid to pay-per-click, you need to know how much you need to pay in order to get the most of it. Since then, I started working independently. I started an ad agency where I continued taking the knowledge that I got at Wix and applied it onto my own clients, where we excelled at it very well with other platforms besides Google AdWords search, also Facebook and Google Display. And now I'm here to pass on the knowledge to you guys over at Semrush, and I hope it's useful and all.
It always is useful, Joel. So we have had previous webinars with Joel, and we are going through different parts of pay-per-click and focusing on those. And today, as I said, will be about creating the perfect ads and the landing page. We do have on the Semrush YouTube channel the previous episodes if you have missed them, so you can go there to watch the other parts of pay-per-click that Joel has spoken about. And obviously today's will be live after the event, and obviously we will have another webinar in the future. So Joel, can you just give the people just a brief overview of what you discussed on the previous webinars, just for those that have missed it, just what sort of topics you actually
definitely. Yeah, I'll give a brief overview. I mean, in the first webinar, I didn't really discuss how to do anything in particular. I simply outlined what I like to call the 5 pillars of PPC that I follow when I'm managing and running campaigns. Those pillars kind of are in the back of my mind with all the strategies and tasks that I use when I'm running accounts. I'll go through them in the webinar, but basically, I mean, to run briefly through them, the first one is to put Google before yourself, to make sure that campaigns are successful for Google before you can worry about yourself making money. You need to be in control with what you do, and also with statistics that are actionable and trustworthy. You then need to understand exactly what those statistics are, give them the proper bids to basically build a money machine. A money machine is where you put money into Google in one day, and you know with confidence that the day after you'll get more back. Afterwards, you optimize for profit, and then you expand and grow. After I presented that webinar, I then proceeded to get into the process of how this is done, where I went into discussing campaign structure and the strategy behind operating very, very targeted campaigns, where you pretty much focus on the most actionable keywords that are going to drive traffic in order to optimize your sales funnel to build that money machine. I discussed how to find that perfect keyword, with all the keywords that could possibly drive traffic that could lead to sales, how to choose the one that, matters the most to you, that will work the most for you. And today I'd like to talk about how to create the perfect ad and landing page combination to make the most of that traffic, to convert them.
Sounds good. I've certainly picked up some useful tips and advice, and everyone else out there who is watching, I'm sure, is the same. But if you do have questions, Joel's presentation will go on. If there's any questions, please do put them in the chat, and I will try and put as many of the questions to Joel at the end of the webinar. So we do have quite a lot of people on now, Joel, so I think it's probably a good time for you to get your slides up and get started. So I will pass the stage to you.
Sounds good. I appreciate it, Greg. Just give me 1 second. And I'm beginning. Okay, so I think I'm showing the right screen here. Excellent.
Wow.
Okay, so yeah, intro. This is about the perfect ad and landing page. It's a very enticing title. I think the headline actually kind of promises a lot. So there is one thing that I need to make a point out of, is that the perfect ad and landing page isn't something you're just going to come up with. I'm not with the advice, with the tips that I'm giving, you're not going to be able to go home with them and follow steps and, produce a magic bullet that is going to, give you the results that you're dreaming of. No, really the perfect ad and landing page is produced by experimentation on traffic for people who are looking for exactly you, your product, your service. You need to channel that traffic using Google AdWords and with the right keyword, previous webinar, and then test properly so that way the user helps you decide what the perfect ad and landing page combination really, really is. Now, as mentioned before, the 5 pillars of PPC are to, first of all, put Google before yourself. When I say put Google before yourself, what I'm saying is that you have to respect that Google is a partner here in your advertising efforts. It's a partner that basically charges you nothing to show your ads. They only get paid if you get clicks. Having said that, you need to remember that clicks are everything to Google. So if they're giving you the opportunity to show your ad, to serve you with their limited resource, the ad impression, and you're not able to make the most out of it by showing the right message for that ad impression, Google will penalize you. Will actually penalize you quite heavily. So the most important thing when running campaigns, especially when starting it, is to make sure you're showing the best ad to the best user at the right time, which means that if you're not bidding on a keyword that directly reflects an ad that you could address, you won't be able to service Google with what they want, and they will penalize you. If your ad is able to perform better than your competitors, your advertising competitors, then Google will get more clicks by serving your ad, and they will thus reward you by showing your ad more often and allowing you to pay less per click to get the top position. So in order for a Google AdWords account to run well, it needs to have a good quality score. In order for it to have a good quality score, you need to first show Google that your ads do get clicks. There are other factors there that Google looks for, but primarily ad relevancy is the most important. After you do that, you need to be in control with the statistics that you have. You're paying per click, and if you're paying per click, you need to understand the value per click for each of your keywords. In order to properly understand that value per click, you need to have confidence in your statistics, meaning that you need to know that if you have a certain keyword that has performed a certain way, it'll continue to perform that way based on good history that it has. If you start off in a campaign with a lot of different keywords with a massive list, you're going to have a lot of trouble getting statistics with it, or I'm sorry, it'll be very expensive to get the statistics you need with it because your account will be spread too thin. Afterwards, once you have those stats, you can give the bid you need in order to build a money machine, in order to understand the value per click, so that way you could pay the right amount to click. Next, you optimize for profit, expand, and grow. Now, the perfect ad and landing page serves the concepts of putting Google, the pillars of putting Google before yourself, and also building a money machine. The perfect ad is going to give you the CTR you need in order to get a better quality score, so that way your ads are shown more often, Google trusts you more, and you pay less per click. However, if you're not able to have a higher value per user, value per visitor, by making money off of that traffic, you are not going to be able to be profitable. You're not going to be able to put in more money, get more money out of Google than you put in, which is why you need to have a landing page that is able to convert. The ad and the landing page have an interesting dynamic. Sorry, the keyword, the ad and the landing page have a relationship. They're not all isolated. Really, the sales funnel is a story in itself. The sales funnel begins with the user searching. The user then sees an ad, visits a landing page, and the story ends with the user making a purchase. With the story begins, like I said before, with the user making a search. It is the keyword itself that dictates the story's plot. Now, this is a slide taken from a previous webinar when I spoke about what keywords to choose. You could categorize all the different ways someone could search and then ultimately purchase your product in a number of ways. The largest category are people who are simply aware of a product. They're not necessarily looking to take action and buy the product, but they know something about it. Someone searching for a word like how to lose weight is aware about weight loss, but they are in no way indicating that they want to purchase a gym membership or a diet program. But they are up there in the funnel. Now, these words cost less money to buy, and the searches are generally much more plentiful. And they're also not the keywords that you're wanting to target right now. When I spoke before about the one most important keyword to target, I was describing the actionable keywords, the keywords in the bottom of the funnel. And the example I gave before about weight loss, if someone searched for, let's say, local gym membership or best gym in my town, they are ready to take action, and that's being expressed in their search. In the story that the sales funnel is the story of the sales funnel, if I'm selling gym memberships, the search, best gym membership in my area, is starting the story. And that's the story that I would like to run with, because it is a story that I can have the most success with. If someone is searching for how do I lose weight, I'll have a lot more trouble continuing the story with the landing page and converting them, because their search is not specific enough. It is possible, but it is only something you want to do once you're able to convert people looking for exactly what it is that you have to offer. The story's canvas is the keyword, the ad, and then the landing page. The story begins with a keyword, and the story ends with the sale. The perfect ad and landing page takes the user search, and then kind of continues on with it, answers doubts and fears that they have, entices them with offers, and gives them a very clear path about how to purchase. It is only by testing user engagement with the ad and the landing page that you're able to indeed create the best ad and landing page. It is very easy to dream up of an ad, put it up, and start running it. It is also easy to come up with a landing page. You never know if it's the best landing page unless you run it up against something else. So it is only through testing that you're able to refine it in order to make it ultimately the best one possible. When you write the story, you need to then take the search and continue it. If someone is searching for best gym membership in my area, you need to let them know that they're the solution that they are seeking by making it clear to them, either in the ad or the landing page, that you are a local gym. You also want to address the problem that is leading them to make the search in the first place. If someone is searching for best gym membership in my area, they're searching for a particular reason. So you want to bring it up, or possibly bring it up. You don't know yet. That's something you might want to explain. You might also want to explain to them how you are the solution that they are looking for. You also want to give them reasons to trust you in order to reduce anxiety to go ahead and make that purchase or submit that lead. You need to give clear examples of what could go wrong if they don't purchase. And also you want to define a clear call to action that they need to take in order to move forward to buy. Each of these steps are defined by different elements that you could choose. A clear call to action could be a big orange button, or it could be a big red button. The problem that are leading them to make the search in the first place could be that they might want to get into shape for the summer, or maybe they're wanting to, lose weight for health reasons. Like it could be a vanity thing, or it could be a health problem. Reasons why you could be the solution that they are seeking could be because you're open 24 hours a day and have the lowest membership fees, or maybe you have the most equipment available, the best selection of equipment, and maybe you have the best classes and so on. So there's a lot of elements that tell the story. What you need to do is list these elements. You need to list the elements that show the benefit of the product and explain why it is the right solution. You need to give elements that help address the reason why they're searching in the first place, to help show them that you are indeed, have the same state of mind as them. Features are something you might list to help further explain why you're that solution. Features such as, let's say, the most gym equipment, or let's say if you're an airline, the lowest prices is sort of a feature. These are different things that kind of entice the sale. At the end of the day, a gym is a gym. What are the features that make you better than the other? Anxiety and doubt are big players. People have doubt as soon as they hit a landing page or see an ad. You can reduce anxiety and doubt by showing trust elements. Trust elements could be, let's say, a money back guarantee, or listing testimonials, people reading true stories on that landing page about how other users were satisfied with the service, help, give trust in the service that it is indeed what they could really, really, really want. McDonald's used to be famous for it. Like, they would show off their sign, and by saying that billions and billions of people were served, it helped give trust. It's a common practice, for example, to say, hey, okay, we served this many people before, go with us, other people did before, join the bandwagon. So what I'm getting at is that you need to basically come up with all these ideas, list them down, and then later on, work with how you fit them in the canvas. The canvas is the ad and also the landing page. Examples, what can go wrong, help. You might want to mention what can happen if they don't go with you. For example, if you are advertising a weight loss product, showing some of the pitfalls if you don't lose weight might help. You don't want to be a fear monger by any means, but it is something that definitely does help. And then last, but also probably most importantly, is giving a clear call to action to move forward and buy. I mean, recently from this webinar, I've been approached by a few different people who have offers, and the number one problem that I saw with them wasn't with their PPC. It was actually with the fact that their landing page didn't have a clear call to action. There was no clear button there that said, buy now, or this is what you need to do to move forward. Instead, I just saw offers out there that required the user to work and hunt and find out what they needed to do to proceed. So that is a very simple element as well. So after you list your elements, you incorporate them in your ad and landing page. The purpose of the ad is to grab attention in the form of a click. The ad is just the beginning of this, is the first part of the story after the keyword. Google lets you experiment with many ads very easily by just simply duplicating the ads that you have, changing the elements of them, and running them side by side in Google for the same keywords. The elements are headlines, display URLs, and descriptions. Google changed recently. Now their headlines are divided into two parts. It is recommended that the headline always reflects the search. If someone is searching for a photographer, say photographer in the headline. It is discouraged from using superlatives, best, the cheapest, and so on. I really don't recommend that. Just simply reflecting what the keyword is, what the user is searching, will usually make the most successful headline. If you have doubts about what the most successful headline is, test duplicate ads with multiple headlines. The display URL is basically your website address, but Google lets you add something to it, which is kind of fake. It's what you add is a path after the website address to kind of show where they're being taken, which isn't the actual page, but it kind of lets you make like it's an actual page. That display URL does help make the user feel good that your ad is taking them where they want to go. Come up with multiple variations of that. It is also something that you might want to test. The description, you have 80 characters to incorporate some of the elements that I mentioned. Now, like I said before, the purpose of the ad is to get the user to click. It's a part of the story. The landing page completes the story. The landing page is what makes them buy. So take some of those elements that I mentioned before. You might want to mention in the ad, let's say, how you serve thousands of clients. Or you might want to mention in the ad how you have free shipping. Or you might want to mention in the ad another benefit about your product or something that's a unique selling point about it. The description is for that. List different ideas for those elements. But one element that you always, always, always need to have in that description is the call to action. Ads without a call to action tend not to get clicked on as often as ads that do have a call to action. Call to actions need to be tested. If you're selling a product that needs to be shipped, one call to action might be get yours today versus buy now. So I mean, these are different. You list these elements and test multiple variations of the ad that are identical with these different elements, and then you could understand what the best call to action is for your product versus what the best headline is versus what the best display URL. This is just to get the user to click, and the number one goal here, by the way, is to have the highest CTR for the search. If you have the highest CTR for the search, you'll then not only get more traffic, but you'll also be able to pay less for the traffic you get, and or be ranked higher and get more traffic for it, much more traffic for it. So CTR is a big deal. Okay, small distraction there, not sure what that was about. Okay, but next, the landing page is meant to complete the story. The landing page is, the landing page has, it isn't a canvas like the text ad because the text ad is restricted. You only have a small amount of space you can use. With the landing page, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You have a lot of space you could use, but you also have a lot of space you can use. So you need to be smart and not overwhelm the user. You need to keep it minimal. Keep it minimal, especially above the fold. When people visit a landing page, they know almost instantly whether or not they like it. They actually know almost instantly before they could consume any of the content on it, whether or not they like it. If they see something that's hard to digest as soon as they land on it, they're more likely to bounce. If what they see above the fold is reflects what they're looking for, they will then be more likely to continue reading and scroll down. By the way, when I say above the fold, I am saying what appears on the part of the web page that appears without scrolling. So keeping that less complex and more communicative engages the user, and then they'll want to learn more and scroll. When they scroll, you're then going to want to show the different test the different elements that I mentioned before. You might want to test testimonials in order to show how you're credible and trustworthy. You might want to test listing different features about your product, but at the same time, those features, those features might not necessarily help drive a sale. It might bore the user with technical data that they don't really care about. I mean, one of the things about Apple, by the way, I think a lot of people here are fans of, are familiar with Apple advertisements. Apple very rarely lists technical features about their products. They don't talk about how fast their processors are. They don't really say much at all about any technical specifications, because that's not what they're selling. They're selling user design. So in that aspect, they're more about simply how the user uses it, as opposed to the technology behind it. And I think they do that very brilliantly. But if you were actually to visit a web page, a page in Apple's website, which sold, let's say, an iPhone or a MacBook, if you dig and look, you will find those technical specifications. Apple chose very wisely to keep those technical specifications, such as the processors and the clock speeds of their devices, down, very deep and hidden, knowing that if they advertised it, it would simply turn users off. Think about cars back in the day. In the 1980s, cars were coming out with fuel injection. A lot of cars would actually say fuel injection on the badge on the outside of the car itself. That didn't really matter. That didn't help sell more cars. That was just a feature that people didn't care about. What people really ultimately did care about was better performance and better fuel economy. So really, you have to be very careful with not overwhelming the users with features. Be more focused on the benefits, but if you're not sure, you test. Testing is key to producing the best landing page. Something else that is very, very, very important is to keep the landing page free of distractions. The best landing pages typically are one-pagers. They are pages that the ads lead to that are not accessible from other parts of the website. The ad points to the landing page, answers what the user is looking for, and then helps them proceed to purchase. The reason for that is because if someone is searching, they're expressing a very, very clear intent, so that intent can be channeled very, very well just through the page itself. If I'm advertising an electronics store and I'm bidding on a keyword for, say, security cameras, a landing page that only describes the security cameras and how it helps solve the problems of the user searching for it, and how easy and quick they are to install, and how thousands of people have had great success with them in the past, and how if they don't use them, maybe they can be a victim of a theft, are what the user wants to see. If I was to take them straight to my homepage, which lists a wide array of products that I have to offer, and they have to hunt and find those security cameras, they would be much less likely to buy. So because we're advertising with search, and because the intent is expressed so well with the way the user looks, we need to continue that story with a landing page that has content that helps make the user feel like we are offering what they're looking for, and makes them feel comfortable to purchase. And distractions are bad. I mean, distractions take away from that. Generally, site links are bad. I mean, the landing page won't link to any other page of your site. Someone searching for those security cameras doesn't need to read about the jobs we have to offer. They don't need to read about the company's history necessarily. I mean, maybe listing something about us helps give credibility, but a lot of what you see on a website is really for people who have already made that search, are already sold, and maybe want to do a bit more research about you to figure out what you're about. Or maybe they are repeat buyers and they're coming to the homepage and they already know what they want, and they don't need to be, walked through, which is what a landing page does. Credibility is a problem. A lot of times when users are searching and they're hitting your site for the first time, they don't know who you are. You could be anyone with a website. Users' testimonials are great. Seals are awesome. I mean, like a lot of times right next to that call to action, right below it, have a guarantee, have a money back guarantee if that's what you have. Have have a seal from your certificate truster, whether it be authorized net or whatnot, that shows that you are a trusted seller online. Those help relax the user and make them feel comfortable with giving their credit card information on your site. Now, next I'll get more into I'll show some concrete landing page examples. Like before I mentioned, I took these off the web. I like these just because they're simple and to the point. First one, someone searches for memory foam mattress. I think that's basically what they want to see. If I'm a furniture store and I'm selling a wide variety of products, sending them to my homepage, letting them see that wide variety of products, won't sell to them nearly as well as taking them here where in the headline, I address exactly what they're looking for, and I show some benefits of it, and I give them a very, very, very easy way to move forward, which is simply by filling out that contact form. Intuit is a very large company. It's a large company that actually has very, very, very intelligent online marketing. Over here, they're offering a business-to-business product. And with that product, they're offering a free trial. Free trials are great because they relax the user, because they let the user know that they can try something for free before actually buying. So it sells much better. Besides that, this website is full of tons of other trust elements. Those trust elements are, seals from, PC Editor's Choice, like you see over there. And also, they show companies that use them, large companies that people know, which helps relax you into understanding that this is something that might, be useful, and it makes you more likely to want to start that trial. And also, you'll see from these two pages is that they don't in any way link to the rest of the website. It is necessary because, the rest of the website is important, but really all that matters, and I know a lot of people are worried about their website for their campaigns, just worry about your landing page. That's really it. Just worry about your landing page. That's the page that's going to be making you your money, and test to make sure that you're always improving it to eventually lead to that perfect landing page. Now about testing ads, the way to do it is simple. There's no tools needed. Google itself lets you create multiple ads in the same ad group to run side by side, mix and match different elements in the ad, and create multiple ads. Let's say, like before you create your ads, maybe come up with 3 different headlines and 3 different call to actions and 1 or 2 different descriptions. Mix and match them, and you're going to have several ads that you can run side by side in order to A/B test. One thing to be sure about when you're A/B testing is that you're comparing ads that are running over the same time period. One mistake that people sometimes make is that they'll launch one ad on one day, put another ad several days later, and then compare the performance over the entire time period. The problem is that there could be other factors that have contributed to the performance of the first ad that weren't around in the time period that the second ad was up. So the A/B test isn't equal. So be sure that you're running the test. Be sure that you're comparing time periods when both of the variations are running. Google lets you set the ad group to run the ads equally so that they're displayed equally. That is, if you're A/B testing and you're on top of your A/B test, you want to make sure that your settings are as such. Otherwise, Google will very quickly pick a winner and show that winner very, very quick. Show that winner all the time, and your other ad won't get a fair share of impressions to give you confidence that it is winning or losing. Because of that, if you do launch a new ad test, it is very important that you follow up on that test almost immediately after you launch it. If you don't, you might run into the problem of, a lot of times new tests bomb, which is fine. Most tests actually do lose. The important thing is to kill the test before it kills your campaign. So if you launch a new variation, especially if it's a wild new variation, something that is creative, very different, be sure to look very, very shortly after putting it up to make sure that it has comparable performance to the ads that is being tested against, or else it'll destroy the quality score of your account by bringing down your overall CTR. The reporting that you use when testing these ads is simply the columns that you see in AdWords next to the ads themselves. You can choose to see impressions, clicks, CTR, conversions, conversion rates, cost per conversion, etc. Like I said before, CTR is really, really, really what you want to be going for. However, sometimes an ad that is winning in CTR may not be converting as well. which is fine, but it might be converting so much more poorly that it is ultimately costing you too much money to run. So look at that. Look at, all those factors, combine all of them to help understand, what your winning or losing ads are. A question that I was asked many times before is, how do you know when an ad, how often should you test and how many ads you should test? Well, really, you should test until you have significant statistics to determine that you have a winner. And I'll complete that. I'll answer that question in a bit, and when I get into how to determine how to determine that you have statistical confidence. When testing landing pages, I recommend using Google Optimize. It's a new tool that Google has. It's connected to Google Analytics. It is completely free. They let you do A/B testing where you run 2 or more unique variations side by side. If you come up with 2 ideas, you could basically use it to split traffic between those 2 ideas, and then it'll give you reports on what the clicks versus conversions are for those landing pages. So if you try, let's say, landing page variation A with something in that blue spot that is different than something in that red spot, drive traffic to it. After a certain amount of traffic, you're able to have confidence that a certain variation is better than the other. Multivariate testing is really, really cool. Earlier, I was talking about all the different elements that you have which make up a landing page. With multivariate testing, you can come up with a lot of different elements, a lot of different variations at once, and Google itself will mix and match them, whether they be different headlines and all those other different, they're in this image are described as sections, but those sections are simply those elements. They're mix and match, and Google will help you understand what the best combination is to drive the sales that you want. Like ad testing, you're going to need to rely on significant statistics to determine a winner. Let's talk about significant statistics. I am linking here to a guide that is very useful. The URL is up there, abtestingguide.com/calc. Basically, that guide lets you put in the number of visitors or the number of impressions from one variation, and then also the number of clicks or conversions from the other variation. And it gives you confidence whether it tells you the confidence that you have a winner over one or the other. Now, that is something to do when you're not able to look at the numbers yourself and really figure it out. Really, the number of impressions over time, over the number of variations that you're testing, is the primary factor that determines how often you should test. But there is another one, and that is the performance of the variations of the experiments. Let me simplify this for you. Let's say you're testing 2 ads, ad variation A and ad variation B. And one ad has a 10% CTR, and the other ad has a 20% CTR. Both of those tests came after 20 impressions, 10 impressions on one ad, and then 10 impressions on the other ad. 1 click is all that it takes to make the difference in that ad, in that test, winning or losing. 1 click is not confidence. It's not enough to know that one ad is winning or losing. Okay? Now, let's give another example with ad variation A and ad variation B, except ad variation A has 10,000 impressions, and ad variation B also has 10,000 impressions. They both have 10,000 impressions. One of them has a 10% CTR with 1,000 clicks, and the other has a 20% CTR with 2,000 clicks. You have 100% confidence, or close to 100% confidence, that ad variation B with the 20% CTR is the winner. It's really a no-brainer. I mean, in that scenario, even though the CTR is the same between the 2 different ads, you know with real confidence that the second ad wins. I like to ask myself a simple question. Will 1 or 2 or 3 extra clicks or conversions make a difference in the test? If so, you don't have enough confidence to call a winner. Now, let's talk about time. If you're able to get those 10,000 ad impressions per ad in a week, then you can test a lot of ads every week. However, if your campaigns don't have the visibility and it takes you months and months and months to get a significant number of ad impressions in order to have confidence in test results, then you need to test fewer variations because those variations are dividing the traffic. So the answer to the question about how many ads to test and how often to test really depends on how many ad impressions you're getting. Or if you're talking about landing page tests, how many visitors you're getting. If you're getting if you're getting tons of impressions every day, then you can test more variations at once. If you're getting fewer variations, you won't be able to do that. Now I'll talk about another scenario, a scenario where you have running ad A and ad B over a month's period of time. And over that month's period of time, you have hundreds of thousands of impressions, but both ads A and B have almost the exact same number of clicks. In that scenario, you don't have statistical confidence to determine that you have a winner or a loser. However, you had tons of traffic. What do? What I would do in that case is kill the ad test, go with the control, and test something new, because in that case, you are losing the opportunity to experiment with something else, because after so many trials, after so many ad impressions, you don't have real confidence of a winner. There is the opposite scenario where you're running you're running an ad test between ad A and B, and let's say you have only 100 impressions, 50 impressions to ad A and 50 impressions to ad B. Ad A gets 20 clicks, ad B gets 2 clicks. I mean, it's a very extreme scenario, but let's say that happens. Well, in that scenario, only after 100 impressions, you have real confidence that you have a winner. You look at ad B with only 2 clicks, you know that it is very unlikely that the next 100 impressions aren't going to make it receive the tons of clicks it needs in order to beat ad A. So really, common sense helps here. Ask yourself, when you look at your experiments, if in the next 100 impressions or the next 50 impressions or the next 1,000 impressions, is it likely that the loser is going to get enough to beat the winner? And if you have doubts, use this tool. This tool will let you plug in the numbers, and it'll tell you the confidence level that you have of whether or not you have a winner or loser. And by the way, this tool is something you'll use for for ads, not for landing page tests. Why? Because if you're using the Google's tool for optimizing landing pages, they do an excellent job of telling you confidence of winners or losers. So that way you don't need to worry about the analytics behind it. They pretty much lay it out for you. I mean, it's very intelligently done. And I'm actually a bit surprised that Google's not doing it for ads as well, because if they're doing it for landing pages, they could do it with ads where they tell you the confidence of test results. I mean, that could be a feature that they have coming up. So I think at this point, we'll move on to our questions part of the webinar. Craig, did anything come in?
Yeah, we've got plenty of questions here for you. So thanks again for another excellent presentation. Guys, you can still ask questions in YouTube. We do have 17 minutes left to take advantage of Joel's knowledge and ask him whatever you want to ask him around pay-per-click. Obviously, based around the webinar is all good, but if you've got any other pay-per-click questions, put them in the chat there. So we will crack on. So someone was asking about the landing pages, and you're saying you don't need to link to any other page on your website. So they're basically asking, would you just disable your whole main navigation of your website when you're
Yes.
page?
Yeah, basically the landing page is, I mean, a lot of it does depend on, the product that you have. If it's a very sophisticated business to business product, let's say something technical, then maybe, the user is going to be doing a lot of research and reading about it. But if you're doing something competitive, you really just want to do everything you can to keep and it's competitive and also business to consumer, you want to keep the user focused and just keep them on that one landing page itself and not give them the opportunity to get lost in your website. By allowing them to navigate through the site, you're allowing them to get lost. Let me give an example that's not with online marketing. I think a lot of people out there are familiar with IKEA. IKEA doesn't let people get distracted. IKEA routes the visitor. So if you go to an IKEA store, you're basically made to think about one thing at a time. They kind of define what you're going to see and when, and they make you make choices in a linear fashion. They don't distract you with aisles and departments. They basically dictate to you, right now we're talking about your bedroom. And then after you're done looking at everything for your bedroom, they keep you focused on, let's say, the living room and your sofas and so on. And then there's only when you get to the very end do they kind of like throw a lot of products out at you, where you have the aisles of little tidbits and whatnot for the home, which are important. I think they're kind of following the same concept where they understand that you need to keep users focused and not let them get lost. Websites are complex; they have a lot of pages, and they let your users get lost. To me, a website's function is for people who already know you. If someone wants to come, if someone visits your landing page and they're sold by your landing page, and then later they want to come back, they then go to your homepage. And the homepage will then give them the ability to get lost and search and so on. But as far as gaining that user's attention, keeping them from just bouncing and clicking on the next guy's ad, the landing page should not have navigation links where possible.
Perfect, perfect. And I'll just get other questions. So we've got here Kevin Ellison. He is looking for some tips to improve the quality score of the landing pages. How can they really get high scores? What things can they be doing?
Okay, can I ask something for him? I'm wondering, I mean, if he's there, if he saw that the landing page quality score is low inside of Google AdWords itself, it is most likely because it is something that you can actually figure out on your own. Google has tools, and inside of Google Webmaster Tools, you can run diagnostics on the landing page to understand what performance issues it might have. Now, a landing page, like I said before, quality score is primarily historical CTR. That is true. Other factors are, like landing page factors, are binary. When I say binary, they're either good or bad. If your landing page is loading slowly, it's either not good enough, and fixing it will make it better. If if there's and such issues, by the way, like I said before, are Google will tell you what they are if you run these tests on them, which you can find in Google Webmaster Tools. I mean, Craig, you probably know as well. You know what I'm talking about, like the speed test page, the section of Webmaster Tools and whatnot. I used it recently for somebody that was having the same problem. It showed us tons of issues with like images not being cached properly and not resized properly and so on, and something else with Java not loading right. And the person addressed them, and the quality score of the landing pages went up.
Good. I mean, I would always suggest fast loading pages are going to get more credit.
Yes.
So
fast loading pages, and then simply content as well. Like if the keyword you're advertising isn't, if the keyword you're advertising needs to be reflected in the ad, and it should also be reflected in the content of the page. Google can read that content. It needs to see it there. But so that's also another factor.
There's another question. There was a bit of a debate going on in the chat there, or not debate, but someone was asking, what would you allow Google to crawl your pay-per-click landing pages? And I answered it saying you can no follow, no index that, so you're not wasting crawl budget. If it's one of those landing pages that's designed only to convert and it's got no text on it or whatever, and obviously if you can put text on it, then great, and you can optimize it. But me personally, I would no follow, no index.
It depends. It depends though. Like, okay, when you're testing landing pages, you run into the problem of duplicate content. Like, in other words, you have many landing pages that are generally the same, but with minor variations. Google will penalize you for duplicate content, which is why you often want to no follow it. Also, if it's like Craig just said, where the landing page is very, very, very slim and there's not much content on it, then you'll just want to no follow it altogether. But if the landing page does engage users, you might want it to be crawled, because sometimes Google will pick it up and it could become a good landing page organically for the keyword you're targeting. If you're testing many variations of it, you'll then want to use canonical links for the other variations to the control, so that way you don't have the problem of duplicate content. Am I right there, Craig, with the do it make sense to you? Because you're the SEO guy. like with the canonicals?
Yeah. Obviously, anything that's going to flag up as duplicate content or waste crawl budget or anything, is not going to be good for you. So you have to bear that in mind if you're going to create loads of different landing pages, and obviously creating test pages for landing pages.
Yeah.
You want Google to see that or have any duplicate content and all of that kind of stuff. So you have to be careful with that.
But generally, I no follow. I mean, if I'm working with, like in the beginning, if I'm working with someone, I'll no follow it. If they have a sophisticated SEO strategy, then they might want those landing page, one of those landing pages for each of their verticals to be out there, and they'll use canonical links for the test variation, so that way they don't duplicate.
Cool. That is the answer I was wanting to hear. But Unique Barnes is asking, is 7 out of 10 in terms of a quality score considered low in your opinion?
No, that's good. But you have to look at the reasons why. I mean, by the way, you have to also understand the quality score too. The quality score they're reporting to you is the quality score for the exact match of that keyword. So the quality score that you're seeing is people looking for exactly that term. If they're looking, if your keywords, let's say a phrase, then it could be that certain words before and after it are lower. No, but 7 is generally good. If you look at why, and if you see that your expected click-through rate is high, and your ad relevance is high, and it's a 7, it means that the landing page is the problem. The problem that and you have the opportunity. It means that you can easily become a 10 simply by fixing landing page problems, which could be as simple as, let's say, landing page load time, or maybe the mobile format and whatnot. Yeah, Google's very big into mobile these days as well. So if you're advertising on mobile and it's not mobile optimized well, they'll really make you suffer for that. I do highly recommend everyone running Google, actually. And I should have actually put this in here. There should have been a section in this webinar actually talking about SEO and also how to make the landing page look better to Google. Run those tools that Google has, and maybe later on I'll give some links for them, because those tools will let you know what's wrong with the pages to keep them from loading well.
Idea. You can always do that in your next webinar as well, include something about that. But
Yes.
We have a question from MI9 Retail. They have a very precise buyer profile, C-level decision makers at retail companies. How can they refine their targeting so that they're displaying their ads to potential buyers and not just anybody?
Okay, well, there's two types of, there's search advertising, and then there's pretty much everything else on the web. Search advertising is someone looking for something, and then you're directly addressing it. I take it by the question that you haven't been able to find a keyword that directly reflects what the potential buyer is searching, because if you had, that keyword would be specific. It would basically be XYZD, and if you offer that and you're the only one doing it, you don't have a problem. You're specifically reaching those people. So you're not doing search advertising isn't working for you. You're looking to advertise to people who don't know to look for you. So you're probably running display ads and or Facebook, or maybe you're trying to target keywords that aren't directly related to your product. If that's the case, you have to have budget, and you have to be creative and test. When I say be creative and test, be creative, I'm not just talking about in the ads, I'm talking about in the type of targeting that you use. If you're targeting on the Google Display Network, it's just simply combining the different tools that Google gives you to target people based on what websites they are, their demographics, the sort of things they're interested in, even the sort of things that they bought. You can then mix and match them and to profile those people to then reach them. If it's Facebook, you have a whole other set of tools, that actually got a bit smaller recently because of their scandal, because they're no longer buying data from third parties to help you target users, which was something that was really helpful in order to do better advertising, and they screwed us over on that. That's another story. So back to your question. It's just basically a matter of testing different targeting. But one thing that you do have to remember is my first pillar, which is that you have to make it work for Google or Facebook, whatever other platform you're running, because you are paying per click, meaning that if you're targeting a certain audience, your ads need to be captivating for that audience, or else you'll be penalized and your ads won't run. So you have to take into account the ad impressions and the clicks. If you're trying a target and you're getting tens of thousands of ad impressions and almost no clicks, even if those clicks convert, it won't work because Google won't continue to show your ads, because what's in it for them? You're not making any money for them because you're not getting them any clicks. So I hope that answers your question.
Perfect, Joel. So we also have Julie James, who is saying they have great organic results. Does that mean they would have even better results with a good pay-per-click campaign, or should they just continue to focus on organic? What's your thoughts on that?
Look, every visitor has a value. That value is basically the probability that they buy multiplied by the value of that purchase. If the value of a sale is $100 and a visitor has a 1% chance of buying, then the value of that visitor is $1. If you're getting 100% of the traffic organically for people searching for that keyword that is leading to a purchase, then you don't need to do PPC. That's probably not the case. You're probably only getting a small percentage of those visitors. So showing a PPC ad will bring, for that same search, even though you already listed organically, will bring you more sales. Is it worth it? If the value for that visitor is higher than the cost per click, then yes, it most definitely is worth it. If the value of that visitor is lower than the cost per click, then optimize your sales funnel until it becomes profitable.
I would also say, on top of that, that click-through rate and traffic to a website also help your SEO. So there is other benefits from that side as well.
Right.
Do bear that in mind. Rather than discounting it, I would always say to someone, have a great social campaign, have a great organic campaign, and also get a great pay-per-click campaign set up if your budget allows. That's the case, of course.
Yeah, because even though actually I saw this at Wix, at Wix, their organic rankings for keywords like website builder, when it started going through the roof. I mean, they are actually, I think, now #1 for just an organic search website builder, but they were never really ranked that well for their best words until we exploded on Facebook with them. We started doing massive Facebook advertising, and their organic results started getting much, much better. Now, I know an SEO will often say, well, Facebook links are no follow. You're not really passing over any link juice. But the reality is that Google is looking at engagement into the website for that type of user. So though though the crawlers aren't reaching it, Google is noticing that people are engaged in it, and that engagement alone is helping. So yeah, those paid ads do help SEO just because of the engagement, not because of spiders crawling.
Exactly. I'm glad you agree with that one. A lot of people have that debate and they're like, nah, no way. But yeah, testing definitely works.
Well, those people might be from 2003. I think back then, no. You know what I mean? Like, Google got smarter, and now they look at user engagement when they didn't used to.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got 3 minutes left. Time for another couple of quick questions. What amount of clicks or impressions would you need for a good ad test?
Okay, well, it really depends. I mean, it depends on the confidence. It depends on several things. And the primary factor is how badly one ad variation is beating the other one. I'll lay out some examples. And I did this in the webinar, but I can never do it enough because I like talking about it. Let's say you have 2 ad variations, and both ad variations received 100 impressions. One ad variation got 10 clicks. The other ad variation got 30 clicks. I think you have confidence that the ad with 30 clicks is going to win. And it's pretty clear there, okay? Now let's divide everything by 10. Let's say you have 10 impressions each, 2 clicks on one ad, 3 clicks on the other. That's flat out not enough. So you don't have enough confidence there at all. If you are running a B test and you're trying to decide whether you have a winner or a loser, try one of those online testing tools. I mentioned one before in the webinar. We'll put the webinar online, and you can get the link. Or just simply do a search for like A/B testing statistical confidence, and you'll find several online tools that allow you to put in the number of impressions, the number of clicks of both variations, hit submit, and it'll let you know what the confidence level is of having a winner or a loser. They might actually call it visitors versus conversions, because the same math applies to A/B testing for landing pages, but it works for ads too.
Excellent, Joel. And we've probably got about time for one more, 1 minute to go. We have Peter from Poland is asking, why would you use text ads over video ads? Or is there any benefit?
Okay, well, Google AdWords, I mean, Google AdWords does serve text ads. Google AdWords serves as a service that provides video advertising, particularly through YouTube. The difference is that if you're a locksmith and you want to reach people searching for emergency locksmith, the only way to reach them is showing a text ad in the Google search results. They're not going to be hopping on YouTube searching for how to pick my lock. And that's much less likely to happen. Now, if you are, let's say, a guitar instructor in your local area, a guitar instructor, and you want to reach local people, then advertising on YouTube for people searching for, how to play guitar and whatnot, because people do a lot of how-to searches on YouTube, might be beneficial to you. So in that case, video advertising on YouTube might be beneficial. So it's not either or, it's just that they're different, and sometimes they actually complement each other.
Excellent. And
by the way, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. I mean, the second most searches happen in YouTube.
So, no, good answer. And one final question is from me today. What do you think of this T-shirt and this guy?
Yeah, I know. That kind of distracted me. I don't know who that is.
Andy Drinkwater. He's watching, but...
Oh, wow.
So I just thought
I'm sorry, Andy. I hope I didn't...
I just wanted to see if you'd throw a few insults his way, but yeah, you didn't.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
But
wow.
No,
as if I don't have enough enemies.
But that is the webinar finished for today. You will be able to watch the replay back on YouTube. Thank you to yourself, Joel, for attending.
Thank you.
Again. And thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, you're welcome. By the way, guys, next webinar is going to be more about budgeting and bidding and statistics and expansion as well, expanding the campaign. So that's what's coming next.
Perfect.
Thank you, Craig.
Bye-bye.
Bye.